Hi, I'm Claire and this is Top 5 Wednesday Time Travel Books. I was so excited about this week's topic because I love me some time traveling tropes and shenanigans. Top 5 Wednesday was created by Lainey at Ginger Reads Lainey, and I'll leave a link to the Goodreads group in the description box below if you want to go and see what the topics are and participate. I was surprised when I went through my Goodreads looking for books to mention in this video that there weren't actually that many books that I've read that have a time traveling element to them. However, some of the books that I'm going to mention were so important to me in my life and when I was younger that it's not really a surprise that this particular storytelling element is so important to me and I love it so much. Number 5 is Dragonflight by Anne McCaffrey. This is the first book in the Dragon Riders of Pern series that I was addicted to when I was a teenager. The time traveling element at the end of this novel basically resolves the entire plot, so I don't want to say what happens specifically, but the dragons in this world are able to teleport instantly from one place to another, and in the book you discover that they're also able to do that in time as well, and it's something that the characters also discover and it allows them to basically resolve the plot. This is the first time that I remember reading about time travel being a thing, and it blew my mind. The idea that you could go back in time and make some changes that would alter the course of your existence without your past self noticing that you were there, without anything in your memory changing, and in fact being able to gain insight in some stuff that was weird at the time from your experience going back, was just something that I found so interesting. It's something that keeps coming up in the series, but I think in that first book that's where it made the most impact on me. Next is one that I am sure a lot of people will have on their list, and that is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban by J.K. Rowling. Now, this is another one of those books that I read when I was in my early teens and that really shaped a lot of things about me as a person and my reading habits and what I love. It's also one of my favorite books in the series because it introduces Remus Lupin, who's probably my favorite character in the entire series. The entire mini adventure at the end when Harry and Hermione go back with the time turner and they retrace all of their steps and you see everything that's going on in a slightly different light, and you realize that Buckbeak is not dead, and you've just had this really emotional revelation about Sirius and Remus and their past and the relationship to Harry. You're just so invested in the idea that they can save more than one innocent life tonight, but there's such dreadful consequences for if they see themselves, and then the realization that they don't see themselves, but Harry sees his Patronus and imagines that his father came to save him. It's just such an emotionally charged ending to this book specifically. I already loved time travel by the time I came to this, but it really blew my mind. It really did. If anyone is finding it weird that I read The Dragon Riders of Pern before I read Harry Potter, I'm finding it weird too. Next is one that I read a lot more recently, and that is Night Watch by Terry Pratchett. This is a guard's novel about Commander Sam Vimes of the City Watch, and basically at the beginning of the book he has a run-in with a hardened criminal who sends him back in time to the City Watch of his youth. He spends the entire novel in his own past timeline trying to figure out if he's ever going to be able to come back to the present and how. The fascinating thing about this one is that Pratchett doesn't go for the you must hide and not meet yourself, you must act sneakily in the shadows kind of thing. No, instead Vimes meets his younger self and introduces himself to his younger self as someone completely different, and from then on he has to kind of be around his younger self and watch and kind of figure out how he's gonna ever try and come back to his present, where he's married with a child and he's actually commander of the watch, as opposed to this past where he's just kind of hanging around and trying to give his younger self life advice. Of course, it's a Discworld novel, so it's hilarious, but I also found it incredibly moving, and it is one of my favorites in the entire series. Next, I have Blackout and All Clear by Connie Willis. Now, these are books in her long-running series about the Oxford academics that have access to time travel, where basically Oxford University in the future sends people back in time to various periods of history to figure out what it was really like and then come back and write PhDs about it. And it's basically impossible to change anything in the past. So in these two books, which are more like one very long book that had to be published in 2 volumes rather than the book and its sequel, but in the story, a whole bunch of different academics are sent back to London and other parts of England during the Blitz to basically observe what's going on. And something happens that means that they're stuck there. There's a problem with the technology and they kind of have to stay, and you follow all of their stories. There's someone in London, there's someone working with evacuees in the north of England, there's someone at Dunkirk. So there are a lot of stories woven together, which is something I personally really enjoy. All the point of views are really well done, and I just really liked seeing how these modern people navigated their way around the war and war-torn Britain. So it's not the most cheerful book because it's by Connie Willis and it is set during the Blitz, but I really enjoyed what time travel elements were in this one specifically. Finally, I want to mention Woman on the Edge of Time by Marge Piercy, and this one is not one that I loved as much as all of the other ones I've mentioned in this video, but I think it is notable because it's the only time travel book I can think of in which someone goes into the future. The protagonist in this book is a woman called Connie who suffers with mental health issues and also lives in poverty. She has just escaped from a mental health facility where she was horribly mistreated. She runs into this weird person who tells her they're from the future, and she gets basically plucked out of her life and taken into this weird utopian future where there are a lot of questions about gender and the nuclear family and how children are raised and how children are created. And I don't remember all of it, but I do remember that it was quite interesting in the kind of things that it chose to look at. And also I was surprised because I think a lot of the time with time travel stories it's about how you go back and change the past without changing the past, which yes, I love, but at the same time I thought it was really cool to have a glimpse of a future and then to have the protagonist's choice be, do I stay, do I go back, do I make sure that I help this future come about, or do I make sure that I try and bring another future forward? To be honest, I can't actually remember how this book finishes, but I can remember that it wasn't the most comfortable reading, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend it or go back and read it. I just thought it was a really interesting look at time travel in a different way. So these were my top 5 time traveling books. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below if you've read any of the books or if you've done top 5 Wednesday on this topic as well. You can leave me a link to your blog or your video in the comments and I'll go and have a look. If you'd like to see more from me, you can check the sidebar right here for more videos, and if you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button for more videos from me every week. I've been Claire, thanks so much for watching, and see you soon.